the elites, they call them, are aware of all this, right? How to control through sound and frequencies.
Yeah, they are. This is what they study. How do people, how to get people to become parasites.
Right. And I just had a parasite expert on the show last week. She said 90% of people have parasites in their body right now.
That's my specialty, is parasites. Mental, physical, and spiritual parasites.
So people are aware of the physical ones. So what are the mental parasites?
Mental parasites are ideas and experience from the past. We were told that history repeats itself. History never repeats itself.
All right, guys, we got an herbalist here today, Doctah B Sirius. Thanks for coming on, my man.
Hey, man, it's a great being here.
It's an honor. I know you don't do this often, so.
No, not often.
True honor, man. So how'd you stumble across herbalism? Because that's sort of a rare thing, right?
Well, I got into herbalism because I was in the music business for many years. And I was very successful as a record producer. And I basically ate all the wrong foods, did all the wrong things, shook the wrong hands, and got really sick. So after seeing how the music business was run and who really ran it, I decided I didn't want to do this anymore. And I was, disheartened. I said, this is like some mind control. Who gets to make it, what they put in records, the sounds, the frequencies, what they call backwards masking. I said, this is mind control. So I became sick, and to save myself, because they gave me a short time, and I just got into herbs and natural medicine and studied everything I could. So then I got into herbs and medicine, and then took that into metaphysics. Started studying metaphysics, frequency, because I was a musician all my life. So I'm in the sounds, frequency, and as an engineer, I study waveforms, and that's when I started looking at the fractals of the universe and seeing how everything is run. So music business took me into herbs took me into metaphysics, and then that took me into the stratosphere.
Yeah, interesting. And the elites, they call them, are aware of all this, right? How to control through sound and frequencies.
Yeah, they are. This is what they study. How to get people to buy, how to get people to become parasites.
Right. And I just had a parasite expert on the show last week. She said 90% of people have parasites in their body right now.
That's my specialty, is parasites. Mental, physical, and spiritual parasites.
So people are aware of the physical ones. So what are the mental parasites?
Mental parasites are ideas and experience from the past that keep replaying in your mind over and over. So we were told that history repeats itself. History never repeats itself.
Really?
Never. Nothing ever happens again. It's always slightly different. No two snowflakes the same. No two leaves on the tree never grow in the same place. That was told to us. But when something from the past keeps repeating itself in your mind, it's like on a loop, that affects you. It eats you alive. You see, if you think that you can't fix something from the past, which you can't, and you're always attempting to repair, to redo it, you can't. So it eats you. It's like your own mental parasite in your mind, because the past is one of the old sayings was the average person lives in the realm of hungry ghost. I think that was from Buddha, one of the Buddhas. And that means that this idea, this experience that should be dead and gone, you keep reviving it and feeding it. It's hungry because it eats you alive. So you can't live in the present 100% because part of you is in the past.
Wow.
To be present, you have to be here right now. That's the gift.
Yeah.
To be here right now in this place and realize that today has never happened before. And that's when you become free of the mental parasite. So a lot of the habits people have that they got from their parents, growing up, and these programs, like when we were young, it was all about how hard it was going to be. It's going to be a struggle. The whole language was about struggle. It's going to be tough to do this, and it's going to be hard to graduate. So it becomes hard because your parents, which were like your first gods, they told you how hard it was going to be. So you learn the language of disempowerment and the language of struggle, you see. And that language, your language has a lot to do with who you are, because thoughts, become words. Words become, beliefs. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Once you realize that everything is based on how you think, and you think in words, that hardens you that becomes your character. It becomes your character because you believe that these words and these things that you were taught were true. And technically almost everything you were ever taught was not a fact.
Right.
It may have been true. True is something that you believe. It's a perspective. It doesn't mean it actually happened. So we could say we're in this room, but actually we're not in this room. We're energy that has come together You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
In the quantum world, we've actually created this in a matrix. It's like we're in a video game, and we're projecting ourselves from way out somewhere, and we've come together to have this experience. You know, imagine video games in 20 years, what they'll be like.
Metaverse.
You see what I'm saying? So it's like that. So based on how you speak, you know, your thoughts become your words. You know, your words, you know, have a lot to do with how you act, your actions. Your actions harden into character. So once you break the spell, you know, English is one of the only languages that's based around spelling. It's a spell. Half of the words you use, you don't even know what they really mean. You think you know what they mean. Like want. Want is basically energetically the desire without action. People who want. Listen to the sound. Want. It's diving.
So you should avoid that word.
I wouldn't use it.
What about need?
Need is like, you know, that puts you into fight or flight. I'm going to die without it.
Anxiety induced, yeah.
You see, you may not feel that way. Your conscious mind, which is only in control of maybe 1%, the subconscious is in control of everything. The subconscious, those programs, every experience that you ever had is programmed into your subconscious.
Wow.
And it's not the subconscious mind per se, because it's not in your head. It's your body. And it's the environment around you. Your magnetosphere stores all of this memory from everything that has ever happened. And then it becomes epigenetic memories because it also comes from your ancestry, what they believed. Not that it's an actual fact. You see, this has been proven because there were people who had, say, heart disease or cancer, and they had an accident. And all of a sudden now they have no memory. They hit their head, amnesia. Do you know within 6 months, many of them didn't have cancer anymore? They didn't have heart disease. They couldn't remember it.
Whoa.
They kept saying, no, you have cancer. It's just, oh, I've never had cancer. And they stay in that place where their cells, right, which are listening to you. Your cells, your genes are genies. Your genies are listening to everything you say as a desire. You give them commands. Your genes are not determining your life.
Yeah.
What's determining your life is your way of speaking, your way of acting, your way of thinking, what you focus on. That is your world. So you're giving a command to this universe that you are. You know, we use words like I. I reduces your whole existence just by using the word I.
How so?
And me, here's another one, me. You know why? Because they're impossible. How could there be I when you have trillions of cells? You've got mitochondria in your body that are living creatures. They can live outside of the body. They're like aliens. All the friendly bacteria, your microbiome is all of these creatures that have come together to be you. So this is not you, it's we. If you just start using the word we, your whole life changes.
Really?
Just take me and change it to we. Start talking in what they call third person.
Interesting. That is fascinating. So you can really command your body what to do then.
You can, but you got to get in the moment and get in the sacred space of now. You see, even the future, if you start talking about the future too much, the subconscious says, we're confused. We don't know what that is. It doesn't exist yet. It's only right now. And everything that has ever happened is happening right now. Everything that ever will happen is happening right now. Everything that did happen is happening right now. It's just like if you, remember they had CD players when you could put 100 CDs in there?
Yeah.
The music on that CD is existing right now on one CD. You can't access it because we have a linear way of thinking. But if you were like on another level, you could grab the CD and say, oh my God, song number 15 was amazing. Did you hear that drum beat, man, that loop and the vocal? You see?
Yeah.
Like, but books. You know, I don't really read a lot of books anymore. I grab the book and I just hold it. And I touch it on my forehead and I open it up and boom. And that page, whatever it is the page that I need to read.
Really? Wow.
Every single time. But you have to be able to, you know, allow your gut to lead you. So your gut is what? Your gut is full of the cosmic energy. The microbiome is reading information from the cosmos. These are alien creatures. We're whole universes, each of us. So that microbiome is picking up information from light years, from stardust, from waves, and we are just like a funnel. All this information is coming through us and funneling into our lives right now so we could have this existence. But your gut, that gut feeling is your first mind. Your gut is your first mind.
They call it the second brain, right?
I don't know why they call it the second brain. It's the first brain. We've given too much value to this up here in intelligence. Intelligence is information from the past. Intel. So they tell you to go down there and the enemy is down there by the river. Go down there and see what they're doing. So they send a guy. He comes back 3 days later. Yeah, they're sitting by the river. They're eating right now. Then the military goes down there and they say, well, they're not there. Well, they were there 3 days ago because you had intel from the past. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
All of our intelligence is information from the past. The most intelligent people are people who know about the past. But right now has never happened. Right this particular moment is brand new. So you got to go with what they call intuitive intelligence in the moment. So your skin, your hair, your gut, everything is reading this moment. Your gut's going to give you a signal. They call it the gut feeling.
Yep.
Every time your gut is right.
Wow.
Your mind can be wrong because your mind has been programmed by all kinds of people, by your schooling, by your parents, all of that. This couldn't be. But whenever you go against your gut, you're like, man, I should have went with my gut. That first thought.
Yep.
To think twice is blasphemy.
Yeah. Happened to me in high school when I was taking tests. Whenever I changed my answer, it was always wrong. Because I went against my gut.
Yeah. And as a musician, I learned that because, I've always been a jazz musician. Even though I've done other types of music, jazz is about, improvisation in the moment. It never happened before. You're just feeling it. You see what I'm saying? It's just a feeling. It's a vibe. You meet people. You don't know. They may not speak the same language, but there's this musical language. There's this rhythm that begins to happen in the connectivity between the two. You see?
Yep.
We're galactic beings. We're travelers. We're looking for the aliens and we're them. You see, there's aliens in your body, in your gut. You see, once you realize that, and there's always this, how should I say, antagonist. No, let me say it differently. There's this energy of opposites always happening. Everything is connected to its opposite. Everything. So let's say you're really good. There's another energy on the other side that's totally bad. Everything is connected to its opposite. You can't have up without down. You can't have white without black. You can't have anything without its opposite. So if we're alive right now, we're also not alive at the same time. You see, so it's all happening. It has to do with what we're selecting, what we're choosing based on how we speak, based on what we eat, who we hang out with. All of those things changes our perspective. So what is truth is what you believe.
Subjective.
It's all subjective.
There's no right and wrong.
There's no right and wrong.
And we're taught growing up there is in movies and TV shows and everything.
Well, that's because we're being controlled by the overlords.
Right.
And they're like, look, this is the way we got to keep people in this corral. They're sheep. You see, we got to make sure the sheep stay in the corral. Just give them some hay every once in a while, some good hay. Make them think that there's nothing outside that gate. It's scary out there. But then you always have this black sheep. The black sheep is, look, man, I'm leaving. No, you can't go. No, don't leave. No, I'm leaving. It's great out there. And the black sheep jumps over the fence. He goes, hangs out for a couple of days. He comes back to visit the sheeple. You know what I'm saying? And, and the black sheep is free. People are basically in these cages. This is a menagerie. There are beings that are controlling your existence and telling you what's right, what's wrong, what's good, what's bad, but they're sucking your energy. They're parasites. This whole thing is based on parasites.
Wow.
And control and power. And there's a small group of people that know this. They control everybody else and get people to believe things. And then you gossip and talk about what's going on and you read it in the news. When have they ever told you the truth? You give me a scenario where these people, they have ever told you the truth about anything. People go to war. You don't even know what the war is about. Well, it's because, he's killing his own people. Why are we over there? He's killing his own people. I got to go get a gun and go over there and kill the people that you say he's killing. What's going on here?
Yeah.
He's killing his own people. Well, what are we doing here in America? America eats its young. America eats people. If you are not aware, if you're not awake, unless you're ready to break free, and it becomes challenging because your family and friends are going to look at you. You're weird. Something's wrong with him.
Yep.
He stopped studying the holy book. He threw the holy book down. Well, who wrote the holy book? Is it a whole book? Where's the W on whole? No, it's a holy, with H. Well, why'd they get rid of the W? Because it's edited. It's a transliteration. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So once we find out that we're living in a menagerie and somebody's playing with us like in a zoo, you can live in this same place and be free. It's not about knowing who you are. It's about reintroducing yourself to yourself every single day. You see?
Yep.
And you got to get rid of titles and all that. When you say, I am blah, 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 that's not really who you are. That's just who you've convinced yourself. That's like you're like a professional is a person that professes. A professor, if you look it up, is a person that professes. You see, what does that mean? He professes. Well, he says he's really smart. I remember going to college and I said, who's this guy's name that's on the school? Well, it's his school. He started it. Did he go to school? No, he was totally uneducated. Huh? I'm going to an uneducated guy's school? Why do I need to go to school? Why do I need to learn these things? Well, you got to get a good job. What if I don't want a job? What do I really want? I remember when I was in school and they had career day and they had like 5 things that I could be. You know what I'm saying? That was it. Nobody said entrepreneur. Nobody said herbalist, metaphysicist. Nobody mentioned that.
Yeah.
They didn't even mention musician. I was very successful as a musician and a record producer. Grammy nominated, gold, platinum records. They never mentioned this. My father was upset. Hey, you're doing that music. It's about sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That's all. It's about life because this whole thing is frequency. Everything is about frequency, vibration. So once you realize that, now you can begin to leave the farm. You can go visit the farm, but when you leave the farm, you can find liberation in recreating yourself and not being caught in a system that eats you alive.
Right. How long do you think this elite group has been in power, and do you think it extends beyond the United States?
The what group?
These groups, the overlords controlling people right now.
Well, what's really funny? In my experience, the overlords are being controlled by a different set of overlords who are being controlled by a different set of, this is many levels.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? And they're really not in power. You have to give them power. You have to agree. You have to sign, do a signature. I agree to be involved in this based on fear. So I think this has always happened. My specialty is parasites. The parasites will set up a scenario where you'll do things, right? So they survive, like Toxoplasma. Toxoplasma, and this parasite is the mind control parasite. This is the super bug. It lives in the amygdala, which is the part of your brain that has a lot to do with emotions, processing emotions. It starts out in a domesticated cat's body. It poops. Mice come and are attracted to the urine and feces of this particular cat. Strange. When the cat's away, the mice play in the feces. They eat the feces, they smell the urine, and when they eat the feces, they get the parasite Toxoplasma. They immediately forget they're mice. They don't know they're mice, so they see the cat. They're like, hi, Mr. Cat, how are you today? Normally, the mouse sees the cat and its gut is like, we got to get out of here. It's going to eat us, but they don't run because their processing system has been rewired. Things they should be afraid of, they're not. But they're afraid of things like lightning. You know, mice are not afraid of lightning and thunder. But now, oh my God, you hear that? Because they're twisted inside. So this is a mind control parasite. And it is said that I was taught that this parasite is actually a drone.
Wow.
They said these beings came to the planet 6,000 years ago. And around that time, the cats, domesticated cats, were being created in Kemet or Egypt. And I don't know if it was on purpose or what, but the cats were given this parasite that would rewrite the natural instincts of everybody who was connected to or had been around Toxoplasma. Did you know that when a woman is pregnant, the doctor says she can't be around cats because of Toxoplasma? Toxoplasma will cause the brain of the child not to develop correctly.
Wow.
This is known.
Scary.
In fact, on the back of the kitty litter bag, it says, beware of toxoplasmosis. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that Toxoplasma parasite is basically what they're using to basically terraform the planet. So how do you terraform a planet? You come and you create scenarios and do things that gets the people to kill themselves off. You heat the environment up. You do all these things to take over. So we figure, well, if it's been 6,000 years, that's a long time. That could be a flash in some being's mind because our time is based on our heartbeat. Timing is based on a heartbeat. So this is why there's a bug that lives 24 hours and it's the longest life. It dies in the evening of old age. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because our mind is based on our heartbeat. So these beings, if they were looking at this time period, they would know that people would basically self-destruct. And this is what's happening. This whole thing is based on fear. So the overlords or the people involved, they do everything based on fear. They set up a scenario. The people get outraged. Oh my God, this terrible was on the news last night. It's bad. You have no actual proof that that's happening.
Right.
But it was in the media and everybody's talking about it. It must have happened. It was on the news. You see, so now the people are scared. Now the people need a solution. What are we going to do? Well, the same people that created the problem sell you the solution. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it was the fear. Fear is the greatest thing in marketing. Even the fear of missing out. Oh my God, everybody's getting it. It's on sale. You don't even need the darn thing. But it was on sale. I got to get it. Oh my God, it's 50% off. So now you're going down there, you're in line, up all night to get the new whatever.
Black Friday.
It's fear.
Yeah.
False evidence appearing real. Or the anticipation of pain or loss. Once you get out of the fear paradigm and regain courage, and when you think on your own, you don't go with the crowd. You see, all of a sudden now you're an outlier. You're different. You're an apostate. An apostate is a person that doesn't follow the mainstream. You do what you do because you're being told. You're connected directly. So people have said, well, Dr. B, you're like a sorcerer. I am. I'm connected directly to source. Well, who is the source? Me. Oh, is that God? Yeah. I'm God. What do you mean you're God? How could I not be? Didn't they say in your book that God was everything? So why are you cutting me out? All of this together is this existence, which you might call God, whether it's good, bad, up, down. It's all these vibrations in this collective consciousness, this collective energy that has come together as our universe, as the multiverse. So the people who we allow to be in charge use our energy. A parasite is a being that uses another being's energy. It basically manipulates the mind of the host so that it can live. And they just suck all the energy out. They just use us as energy.
Wow. That's scary to think about, man. Yeah, I was definitely brainwashed for like 25 years watching the news and believing everything.
Yeah.
I've recently escaped that. It's pretty eye-opening what I'm learning.
Well, I was on the news many years ago, and what they were saying I was talking about had nothing to do with what I was talking about.
What do you mean?
I mean, I was speaking at this college. So I was talking about natural health, eating foods that are more whole. And this other guy was talking about wearing condoms. putting latex on. You know what I'm saying? And, latex is not good at all.
Really?
So he was, latex is toxic, especially when it gets warm. I mean, you're going to be having friction, right?
So you don't advise using condoms?
Latex. Doctors don't wear latex gloves anymore. Why?
Okay.
It's toxic.
Yeah, they wear nitrile, right?
Yeah, they got all kinds of stuff. They're not crazy. I'm not saying don't go to your doctor. I'm saying you need to make sure you have a really good relationship with your doctor, and your doctor is more holistic.
Agreed.
If your doctor is holistic and balanced, and he says, hey, if you're eating right, let's keep doing that. And we start looking at foods, and we start looking at, the way we eat and our relationships. Does the doctor ask you about your relationships?
No.
Because stress will take you out. That's like the 4th leading cause of death is stress.
Wow.
Stress. If you eat some toxic food, your body goes into stress. It could kill you. You're thinking about you could die because they said if you don't, there's a disease out there that's in the air. It could jump 6 feet. You know what I'm saying? From person to person, it could kill you. So if you're scared, you're nervous, you die from stress.
Wow.
So the average person is controlled by stress, by fear. But this is changing. There's people all over the world who are breaking out of the farm. You see, people like you, people like Billy Carson are teaching and showing people that there's another way. So the old regime is dying. The old overlords are losing power.
Yeah.
In fact, some of them are not even there anymore. Some of the people and the beings that we think are controlling this are not. They left.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you hear some of these names and you wonder if they're still in control, but.
What's in control now is what they set up. The people are controlling it, their own fears, their own beliefs. That's what's controlling this thing right now. They're going to come and get you. Who? The devil. Who is the devil? Let's call him. You got a phone? Let's dial. What's his number? 666-666. Hey, Dev? Hey, I need to meet with you, man. What's going on? You meet the devil, and you find out it's your subconscious. And almost everything you believe that could hurt you is in your own mind because it hasn't happened yet. If you think something is going to happen, right, that means you're predicting. We're very predictive people. I know it's going to happen. I'm going to go down there and die. The guy goes down there and dies. He predicted that. Your language is a very predictive language. You don't know what's going to happen. You see?
Yeah.
But if you've got parasites, mental, physical, and spiritual and cosmic parasites controlling your mind, you'll do this for you. You'll take yourself out.
Right.
Based on a program. It's all programming. If you program the computer in a certain way, it's going to the drive is going to die. You see what I'm saying? It's all data.
Yeah. It's all numbers, right?
It's all numbers. This whole thing is numbers.
So numerology is real.
It is. Numerology is very real. When you were born, how you got here, the energy, the timing, the frequency. Because, see, we're constantly wave casting. That means when you think, waves are leaving your head. We now can prove this scientifically. Those waves are going into the quantum field. The quantum field is like a space where anything is possible. It's chaotic. Everything, every possibility is happening in that field. As you think and think and think over and over and over, it's the repetition. The particles that are in that, the waves turn into particles. As you think over and over, the waves coming from you go into the field and become particles. Now your thoughts do matter. You created it. You see?
Yeah.
So this room didn't even exist till I walked in and saw it. Now that sounds strange. Wait a minute. No, we've seen Sean before. We know what the room looks like. The only reason why you know what something looks like, because you've predicted. Most of what we know is a prediction based on the past. But this room is not exactly the same. It couldn't be exactly the same. In fact, if you take a house, an old building, and the people move out, the house begins to deteriorate on its own.
Right.
Same house, people are living in it. The house, even if you didn't fix it, would last longer. It's because our minds are creating our environment. We're creating our problems, our goals, our wins. And most people don't even know how to win. They won. They woke up today. Did they celebrate that? Did you vibrate your cells? That's what celebrate means. And give thanks for being here today. 11 seconds after you wake up, you start remembering, oh my God, my name is Joe. I got bad luck. My boss hates me. And it starts going down. You start talking, oh my God, listen to the sound, frequency. It's a terrible song.
Right.
And that becomes your life. Now, if you have some kind of special dream and you wake up and you don't even know your old self, you have a new open palette. It's like a brand new chalkboard for life. You start creating from a brand new place. You're going to create from this moment. So you're not thinking of all the don'ts, shouldn'ts, couldn'ts, wouldn'ts, what's not possible. You start creating possibility.
Right.
We're creating possibility. But it is the mental, physical, spiritual, and cosmic parasites that have been usurping our energy for a long time. But they don't have the power unless you give it to them. You got to give it to them. You've got to cleanse your body from parasites. People say, well, I've done a parasite cleanser. It's like a colon cleanser, right? Those parasites are not the ones. It's the systemic parasites. They're the ones, like the Toxoplasma that lives in your amygdala, controlling your mind. Then there's ones that live in the heart, the kidney, the liver. Those are the systemic parasites. And unless you are able to alleviate their food source, then if they keep getting energy, if they can't get the energy, then they die off. It's my specialty, systemic parasites, not regular parasites.
Yeah.
Unless you have your own, they've got organic farms and natural farms, and you could grow things in your apartment. If you took some basil and you couldn't find anything because you're in a place where they have no, natural foods, and you get a basil plant and put it in your windowsill and eat the food that has no life and put one basil seed with it, or one basil leaf in your mouth, raw, changes the energy of all that food.
Really?
Instantaneously.
Wow, I'm going to start doing that.
Or mint. Here's what you could do. You want to get really high? Take a mint leaf, put it in your mouth before you go to bed, and just hold it in your mouth. Your dreams, first of all, like, whoa!
Really?
And when you wake up, you start making better choices because the electricity, the electrical potential in that mint leaf, it's triggering your entire body to wake up.
Wow, I can't wait to do that, just from a mint leaf.
From a mint leaf.
Fascinating.
So let's say you can't, fast food is all you got in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
Just get one plant that's natural and have it and eat that. Basil will do it, mint, rosemary. It changes the whole energy of the body because the body says, wait a minute, we got something we could use. And it begins to create new cells. It begins to regenerate our bodies. We can regenerate our bodies because our thing is, well, I can't do it because there's nothing in my neighborhood. I'm telling you, these are simple things. You see, the body recognizes real life. It's looking for something that is vibrating close to what the earth, the sun, and the moon is.
Right.
See, we're photovoltaic. We take light and convert that into energy. So it would be best to eat food that's been in the light, in the sun, because it is condensed that light energy, right, and create what's called a superfood, and you eat that.
Right.
So if you eat toxic stuff all day and then eat something that's natural, at least one thing, just one thing. Drink some natural water that's alive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Most of this water that you're drinking is not alive.
Terrible.
Oh, no, my God, it's just spring water. A guy won a case. They said that he was selling spring water, but it actually was from the tap. So check it out. He went to court. He says, Judge, I'm going to prove to you this is spring water. He went like this. Did you see that? I sprung it in the air, right? Spring water. He won the case.
No way. Wow.
He sprung the water. You think that it's from a natural spring. It didn't say that on the bottle. Alpine spring water. Alpine. Where is Alpine? Is that a place? You think it's from the Alpine Forest. You know what I'm saying? You know, it's really from there. They bring it in by trucks from the Alpine. You really think they got time for that? It's tap water.
Crazy.
So what you drink is important. You drink a little natural water, or at least you take water and hold it in your right hand.
Why right hand?
Because energy leaves the body through the right. So you can use it as a programming device, hold it in your right hand and say love and harmony. Just think that. That energy shoots down, crystallizes this water. It changes the flavor of it. Why? Because you just told the water, gave it a command. Water's a living crystal. So Dr. Emoto, we started looking at the messages in water. That water now crystallizes and becomes for you.
Wow.
It becomes your water. If you're going to plant some seeds, let's say you want to plant some seeds, right? Take them, hold them in your hand, put them in your mouth. Count to 7. Spit them out, plant them in the soil. Those seeds just did a kinetic connection, an energetic connection between you and the seed. And when that plant grows, it's going to have something only for you.
That's great to know because I'm actually starting a garden now. So thank you for that. That's great advice.
It's just that simple. Even if it's inorganic, let's say I can't get anything. Well, just go ahead and get the inorganic seeds. Hold them, put them in your mouth. The saliva, it changes them. Now plant them. Now they're never going to be organic, but it's going to have life force for you. We have control over this place more than we could ever know. They had to play with your mind to think that, because most people think it's crazy. It's all over. It's the end of the world. It's the end of the world.
World War III.
World War III is happening in people's minds. It's got to do with your mindset. There's people who live in a cabin who are out living with Bambi. They get water from the water right here in the spring. They don't have any problems. The guy's 108 years old. Looks like he's 72. He doesn't have the news. He's not following the news. He says, because the news is a nuisance. They're lying. When have they ever told you the truth?
All right.
Why is the news all bad? Everything is connected to its opposite. So if the world is really, really bad, it would have self-destructed a long time ago. There's just as much good as there is bad or evil happening all at the same time.
So it's never one-sided?
Never.
Wow. Yin and yang.
Nature and the universe is always seeking balance. You have to create the best. You got to program your mind each day. Do a meditation. And here's another thing about meditation and mantras. The average person does a reverse mantra. They say, I have a mantra I do every day. Well, what is it? I don't want to get cancer. Oh, God. And I want to be healthy, and I hope I'm safe when I go to work each day. And I don't want to have problems with my neighbor. And I hope my wife doesn't poison my food. Where'd you get this from? Only mention what you desire. Don't ever mention in your mantra the things you do not desire, the things you wouldn't like to have show up. Only say what you desire. I'm attracting love and harmony. Just say that. Simple. Best time to do your mantra is during the seed time. The seed time is just before you go to sleep. Just before you go to sleep, say over and over what you desire. This new house that you keep saying you want, you better say where. A friend of mine, he got the new house on the hill. Oh my God, it was in Los Angeles. I go over his house. He says, hey man, it's getting dark. You're going to stay overnight, right? I says, no. He says, no, well, you got to leave now. I says, why? Well, at night we can't go down the hill, man. It's just crazy down there, man. They'll drag you out your car and shoot you. Since I thought I got the dream house, but it's not in the dream neighborhood. You have to set the whole thing up in your mind. You have to create it by feeling first. Feel whatever it is you desire. We have this thing about we need to see it first. When you're getting married, what's the song? Dun, dun, da, dun, 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 dun. Put the drums. Do the remix. Dun, 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 dun. You're graduating. Dun, 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 dun. Does that sound happy? We're marching to war. Do the remix. You feel me?
Yeah.
Most of these songs were created to keep us in a mental prison.
Wow.
Stevie Wonder tried to change the birthday song for you. But what do people do? They sing the old one first. Then they sing Stevie's. Just sing Stevie's. Because the music has got to be moving. It's got to be flowing up and down to create life force energy that's taking you from where you are to where you'd like to be.
Yeah, the birthday song is pretty basic.
You see?
Slow, yeah.
What's the birthday song? How's it go?
Happy birthday to
you. Does it sound happy? Then it'd be dropped down. Happy birthday to you. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah.
Where does this come from, man? This is from the dark ages. We can't create new songs. It's not a happy birthday. I'm not really looking for happiness anyway, because happiness is fleeting. Joy. Something you can own.
I love that because people chase happiness.
Chasing it. And it's quick.
Very
They were
quick.
happy yesterday and tomorrow I'm back at the job again, you know. I hate my job. I hate my boss. I don't like my life.
It's 80% of people.
80% of the people are controlled and they have no idea the opportunities that they are not seeing or not living in the people or the beings or the parasites that are controlling this whole realm need you sad, blind, deaf, dumb, and depressed. Because as long as you're like that, you can be easily controlled.
Right.
But when you start finding joy, doing what you love, like you know what I'm saying?
I love this.
Obviously, you're doing what you love.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I've watched a couple of years. I said, oh, this cat's on one. Oh, he's in joy. He's doing what he's doing his passion. And he's from what I see, he's pretty big. He's good at this. You see? But if you were told and you believed forever that you could only do one of those 5 jobs they told you could do.
Yep.
One day you could possibly be the manager. Oh my God, the manager of a job I hate. But since the pandemic, I call it, all of a sudden a lot of people left their jobs and figured out I can do some stuff in my garage. I can have a podcast. I can sell these little products and buy them in China and sell them, jack the price up 10 times and sell them to people. So a lot of people now are breaking out. So this is not the end of the world. It's the beginning of a new world, a new consciousness, a new earth is happening right now. You got to feel it in your body. When they tell you to see things first, they've been manipulating your sight for a long time.
Absolutely.
Through cartoons.
Yep.
But your feeling, if you could feel it as if it's already happened, feel it. Imagine it in your gut, because the most powerful thing you have is your imagination. So if you imagine doom and gloom, you're going to get more doom and gloom.
Yep.
So if you could feel the best and just look at the best things in your life and create something brand new that no one's ever done before by doing what? Being totally artistic. Each person is totally unique. No one's the same. We have to be totally, using that intuition and improvising constantly.
Yep.
That's how the parasites, they can't track you. They don't know what you're going to do. Oh my God, it's like with jazz music. You don't know what note this guy's about to hit. Oh God, well, listen to that note.
Yeah, you're unpredictable.
Unpredictable. Be unpredictable.
Yeah, stop living like a slave almost, right? Modern day.
And if you got a new idea, stop telling all your friends and family what you're about to do.
Yeah, never do that. You're going to get so much hate.
You mean you're going to do what? What makes you think? Who do you think you are?
Yeah.
Who do I think? That's supposed to be a problem because I think I'm somebody? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You've lost your mind. Exactly. I needed to lose it because that mind wasn't mine. I need to lose my mind.
Yeah, and they direct all that negative energy at you too.
You've forgotten where you come from. I needed to. It was killing me.
Yeah.
So all of those things are things you have to realize that, you can't let the world influence you.
Yeah, going down this path, you're going to be alienated, but I think you'll come out a lot more happy or more joy.
It's better to live a short life doing what you really love than to live a long life doing what you hate.
Facts. Love that. You've had some interesting travel experiences. I want to talk about Bermuda Triangle.
Oh my God.
What went down there?
I was just going on a cruise with my parents. You know what I'm saying? It was an anniversary, 50th anniversary. And I couldn't really eat because everything they had that was dipped in some type of
seed oil.
At that time I was vegan.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I was basically fasting, and the boat had to go south because the storm was coming. It was a hurricane.
Mm-hmm.
So he went into the Bermuda Triangle, the whole Carnival cruise boat.
Wow.
And they gave everybody all this food and liquor so they can go to bed early and strap themselves in. And I went to my room, and I looked at the television, and it had Twister. Remember the movie Twister?
Twister.
It
Sounds
was
familiar.
about it's tornado. They
Okay.
were chasing these tornadoes.
Got it.
That was the only thing on the TV. All the TVs had the same thing back in those days. So I got this feeling, get up. I got up. I went to where I normally sit on the boat, right at the bow. And I looked up, and I saw the captain and all them, and they were like, they had the what is it called? The life vest?
Yeah.
With the little light on. My father was in the Navy. He says, whenever they have that light on, they expect to possibly be in the water at any moment.
Whoa.
I was like, they all had that thing blinking. And the captain and all of them were like this. And I looked out at the ocean, and all of a sudden I couldn't hear. It's like, was no, I couldn't hear anything. And the ocean went like glass. It was just smooth, no waves. And I just got this feeling. I started shaking. And my hair stands straight up. And I remembered, oh my God, I've watched all those movies, the sci-fi movies about the Bermuda Triangle. And then it was like, shh. This is maybe one. I was telling your friend, your partner, I said, man, I should have brought the watch, because I still have the watch that I had on as a Timex watch. And it's stuck at the time. It's fused inside when I zipped out into some other dimension.
Whoa.
I was gone until the sun was rising.
Holy
And
crap.
when the sun was coming up, it was the moon and the sun both rising at the same time. And the sky was like, the clouds were like rainbows. Like, just imagine a giant took its fingers and dipped it in different paint and zigzagged it through the sky.
Wow.
I started crying. I was losing my mind. I was like, my God, what happened? What happened? And something tells me intuitively to look into the water. And it was dolphins. Thousands of dolphins all going clockwise around the boat. And they calmed me down. It was like they were like communicating to me. It's okay. It's okay. Well, at that point, I basically realized I'd lost my mind. So for the rest of the trip, I was strange. I went back home to Los Angeles and basically had a breakdown.
Wow. You didn't tell anyone this happened?
I couldn't even talk. I stuttered with people, and I was just like would cry and shake. I didn't know what had happened, but I kept writing these numbers. And these equations. Now I know they were equations, and these little dots, which was a star map. I was doing this over and over and over. Then this guy comes to town. His name is Dr. Kwaku Ando. He was a botanist. He worked for Jimmy Carter, and he was a Dogon priest from a tribe in Africa who were into all the cosmic stuff.
Yeah.
And I go to something tells me to get it together, at least go to his lecture. So it's the first time I'm out of the house. I go to the lecture. He's showing a slideshow. It's called the Prophecy on the Wall, San Francisco. There's a retaining wall in San Francisco. It's concave so that the high tide doesn't wash the city away. There's guards around it because it's the high-end part of town. They don't want any graffiti on this wall.
Yeah.
Plus you can't, because it's concave. You can't really, you can't hang on a rope or a ladder to get there. So Dr. Kwaku Ando is jogging along this wall every day, and he starts noticing these figures and these symbols on the wall. The tide goes out, so he's able to go out by the tide, and he sees, like, for I think it's blocks and blocks and blocks, this whole story in pictograms, almost like hieroglyphics, and it was like graffiti, but it wasn't, and it had the story of people on the planet. It had mushrooms coming here first. That was the first life form. The mushrooms, which are intelligent, that is basically, if you want to say something is God, I would say mushrooms.
Wow.
They're omnipresent. They're everywhere. They're in every environment. They know everything. They're the internet of everything. He says, what's mushrooms? And then they show the 5 different groups of people, beings that have been here. And we're like the last. And it tells the whole story of existence of man. And how we took this route when we could have took this route. But then it's showing these other dimensions that are happening at the same time. And then he writes these numbers on the board with these little dots. And I realize those are the numbers I've been seeing.
Wow.
And those are the dots I've been drawing. And I freak out. So at that point, I'm like, very emotional. And I get up to leave. And he yells from the stage, Doctah B, don't leave here without talking to me. How's this guy know me? He's world famous. I'm just this little guy in LA,
Yeah.
I was an herbalist at the time, and a musician. So people knew me that, in that realm. And he comes over and he grabs me and says, look at you, man. You look just like you do in the visions. What visions? He says, there's a whole story about you, a whole vision, like a prophecy about you connected to parasites. What? His wife comes over, she sees me. Oh my God, this is the guy from the dreams. He says, do you have any idea what we're talking about? I says, no. He says, call me tomorrow at 12 noon. I call him at 12 noon and he says, listen, you went through the vortex. You were taken. We knew this was going to happen. This has been told for thousands of years that you would come. He says, you're in music and rhythm, right? See, my specialty is drums. You were taught special rhythms even as a child and about frequency and sound, which is everything. And he starts talking about all these things I've been through in my life were all part of leading me to this place. Wow. He says, you were downloaded this information about dealing with cosmic, mental, physical, and spiritual parasites, which are controlling this whole realm. It's up to you. These, the numbers that he drew on the board was the star coordinates for Sirius and the Orion's belt. I'd been drawing them. And the little points that was a star map.
Wow.
And he shows it on the board. And I'm like, oh my God. And he says, well, we got to get to work. We got to wake you up so you can remember who you are. So basically he starts working with me, and he says, you're working on a formula, right? I says, no, I stopped. I haven't even made any herbs in months. I basically had a breakdown. He says, no, you're sleepwalking. Go to your lab and see if you have something there. I go to my lab and there's these bowls of all this stuff. All these herbs I've never even used or heard of. Some are from Peru and from different parts of the world. And I was like, wait a minute, who did this? He said, that's you. There's another part of you that's dream timing, creating the formula that's going to help humanity.
Wow.
He says, put it all together in a bag and bring it to me. So I go meet him and I bring him this bag of herbs and he holds it and he says, it's missing 3 herbs. He doesn't even open it. He holds it. He says, it's the energy, not what you call it. It's the energy of what it is. He says, you're missing 3 herbs. One is in the Nile. One is in the Caribbean. And the other is a Native American herb. Within 3 weeks, those 3 herbs popped up in my life.
Wow.
And I put this formula together, brought it back to him. He says, this is it. You've got to distribute this to the world. This is for systemic parasites, which I never heard of, which are not your colon parasites. They're throughout the body. He says they're for cosmic parasites. These are beings that travel from planet to planet, and they use the energy of the planet and suck it dry. And he starts talking about mental parasites and psychic parasites and spiritual. He says this formulation will help a person's own immune system come back online so it can get rid of whatever it is.
Wow.
And he says, now look up in the sky. He said, you see that blinking star? That's Sirius. That's the most important point of light for you. He says, now keep looking at it and tell me when it blinks red, white, and blue. And I'm like, come on. They're gonna blink. And I start looking at it. Oh my God. It's blinking red, white, and blue. He said, that's your star. He says, from now on, because back then they called me Doctah B.
Yeah.
He says, from now on, you're Doctah B Sirius. Doctah B Sirius. I said, man. He says, yes, that's your name. You're Doctah B Sirius. Now you've got work to do. Go teach people about these parasites. And that changed my whole life. Everything changed. And I started coming back to consciousness because I was finally doing what I came here to do, to help people deal with things that were eating them alive. You see?
Yeah.
So that's my specialty now, even with music. I realized when I was in the music business that I was getting paid a lot of money to make music that was parasitic, sucking the life force out of people, putting people in a trance. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
The frequencies, the instruments were tuned to, and everything was like killing people. And you don't realize it because it's happening softly.
Right.
That's why I love this song. If it was tuned to the proper frequency, that song would change your life. You see, but the music was set up just to get people to go to the concert, pay crazy money to go see your favorite artist, but not something that was healing people. Where old music, you start going like between, let's say, the 60s Even parts of the 70s and before, music was about helping people, healing people.
Wow.
Almost all of it. It was all, it was on vinyl. Vinyl is very powerful because that's carbon.
Mm.
And you've got a sapphire or a diamond needle with a magnet and a coil wrapped around it. It's passing your ears and going to your entire essence.
Mm.
Everything was analog. Analog is like what the earth is. You see? So music was about helping people. Then, I watched the music business change, and it became about controlling people's minds and sucking people's brains out and getting people to do criminal things and think crazy stuff. And it became acceptable to do this. This is like the most popular music is the most dangerous. It's actually a weapon.
Wow.
You see?
Yeah.
Now, beautiful thing is now with the internet, you have a lot of artists who are not doing popular music anymore. They're doing alternative music. They're in their bedroom doing something that's never been done.
Mm.
So we're changing that now. This world is changing very fast. You see, but when I was in that music business, it was about controlling people's minds. It was a parasitic type of music. And you're paying the artist, 3%? It's not even 3%. It's called 3 points.
That's all they get?
3 points.
Wow.
That's what I was getting as a producer, 3 points. What is a point? Why did I ask what a point was with my attorney? He was there for like a half an hour trying to explain to me what the hell a point is. What is it a percent or a point? No, it's a point. That means it's this variable. What is a point? What is the point? And I realized that I was a slave, and I was leading the sheep to slaughter. And I quit the music industry because I realized that even though I was making a lot of money.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. When money rules everything around you, there's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
You got to do things for love, and you got to be compassionate and care about people, because everything affects everything else. You see what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that's when I went into the world of making music. Right now, I've created something called medicine music. And it's music that takes you into these other realms.
Mm.
It takes you out of the prison. It takes you into a space where your entire body begins to vibrate at these frequencies. Some of the music I make is for healing certain organs.
Wow.
Energy medicine is the next level. Energy, light, color, sound repairs organs. The liver has a certain frequency it's supposed to be. The kidneys, the lungs, it's all about frequency.
Mm.
So if you make music that actually changes the frequency of the body, you can heal people.
Amazing.
We've actually helped people with chronic illnesses just with music.
Crazy.
There's people with Alzheimer's,
Yeah.
whatever they call it, and they're just sitting there staring. And let's say they were born, or their best time was, let's say, in the 60s. They love music from the 60s. Take a record or some music from the 60s and play it. And they come alive and they start singing and they start dancing, because what you've done is you've turned on the part of their brain that's in quiescence. It's in a quiet state.
Mm.
You see what I'm saying? Their brain is basically calcified. It's fried from the food, fried foods, the sugars, all the preservatives.
Yeah.
If you're eating preservatives, they preserve your cells.
Mm.
It sounds like a good thing, huh? No, every month certain cells are supposed to die and new cells take over. If the old cells are preserved, right? If they're dead cells that are still acting like they're alive, you begin to age really quickly
Wow.
because you're eating preservatives. And the preservatives, like in America, most of the wheat here is what they call red winter wheat, hard red winter wheat.
Mm-hmm.
You go to other countries, they're eating soft white winter wheat.
Mm.
Totally different. Our wheat here that we use is high in gluten. Gluten is a ton of glue. It makes everything sticky. It kills you, gets you high, because it makes gluteomorphate or morphine, which is a morphine type substance.
Yeah.
But if you use the soft wheat, it doesn't have as much gluten, doesn't have as much protein. It's softer, fluffier, tastes better. It's not killing you. See, most of the world is not trying to kill its people. We're going to fight a war because this person is killing its own people. Meanwhile, we're killing our own people.
Yeah.
It's some
It is. The bread is enriched and fortified too.
enriched. What was wrong with it in the first place? The milk is enriched, fortified. What the heck is this? You give it to animals and they die. You give your dog some of the stuff we eat and they die. But it's the miracle is that we could live as long as we've lived eating this toxic stuff. Do you know what I'm saying? Almost every cereal is considered a candy. There's nothing in it that has any life force.
Wow.
But it's the breakfast of champions. The champion knows if I eat that, I'm not going to win.
Most important meal of the day.
You see, so once you break out of all of this, you realize that this whole thing is controlled by a group of beings that are sucking your life force out. And you've got to break free.
Yeah.
If you try to tell your friends and family, they may have you committed. Oh, he's lost his mind. He's trying to get off the farm. He thinks that he could just eat a certain way, drink a certain way, and he's just drawing like crazy. How's he ever going to make money just drawing? See, that's the old mindset. Art is everywhere. We need people who draw. You need music, people who play music. You need the things that actually give us a sense of existence out beyond the controlled farm. That's when we begin to live. And today, people are waking up faster than ever.
Absolutely. Yeah, I can feel the movement.
This is a beautiful time to be here.
Yeah, agreed.
But they keep announcing with the megaphone, it's getting bad, it's getting terrible. And they keep showing you all these wars. I don't know if the war exists or not. I'm not there. It's a war in my neighborhood. Why are all these people homeless? How much did it cost to drop one bomb with a drone? How much did it cost to make that one missile to kill one guy or a group of people? How much did it cost? When you start studying these numbers, you're like, wait a minute, we could have fed everybody in the neighborhood. We're not feeding the people. And now you don't want the homeless people living there, right? So you tell them to get out of here. Well, where are they going? Why did they become homeless? What is going on? Well, you don't care? You don't want to feed the people like most countries? Healthcare, I got to pay for. If I can't afford healthcare, I'm done. I'm going to die. And if I can't afford healthcare, I could die too from the healthcare, because who really cares? Do they really care?
Nope.
I'm told I got to vote for the lesser of two evils. What kind of is that? Vote? What? If you don't vote, the bad guy is going to get your vote. Really? And so if you believe this stuff, it becomes real.
Yep. Absolutely. Doctor, it's been a pleasure. Where can people find your cleanses and your music and everything else you got going on?
Elevationtime.com is the website. Elevationtime.com. We've got medicine music. We've got this program, the Elevated Total Body Program, which is like #1 on the planet right now. There's a lot of products there that can help folks, change their lives. Also, Instagram, Doctah B, Doctah, Doctah B Sirius, Sirius. Cool. Doctah. I'm not a doctor. I'm a doctor. So that's where you can find me. And we're doing a lot of classes and workshops. And it's interesting because Billy Carson calls me and he says, hey, man, you've been nominated as Spiritual Leader of the Year. I was like, what? He says, yeah, for the Forbidden, Conscious Awards. I was like, really? He says, yeah, man, people really love what you're saying and you're a little wild and they like that. So I'm, honored to be, at least in that category.
Love it. I'll be there too, man. We'll link all your stuff below. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely.
And congratulations on your show, man.
Thanks for watching, guys. Definitely we'll have to do a part 2 on that one. Stay tuned for that. Otherwise, see you tomorrow.